Hello and a warm welcome to everybody to the Celtic Forever podcast, where on today's show we're going to go through the massive preview of the Bayern Munich game tonight. We're going to go through that. We're going to go through the Raith Rovers game. We've not had our wee say on the Raith Rovers game. The Scottish Cup shocks as well. We're going to have a wee word on that. So we're going to do a full roundup of the Scottish Cup weekend and getting Hibs in the quarter final. So hit that like, share and subscribe button, folks. That would be appreciated. Okay, we've got plenty to get through here, folks, so let's get started with this.
The Celtic Forever podcast.
Hello again, everybody. Welcome to the Celtic Forever podcast. We've got the massive preview of the Bayern Munich game coming up. We've got John here to go through everything. We've not been on for a wee while, so we've got quite a lot to get through. How are you, John? Big game the night, massive game the night, Bayern Munich. You know, we always dread these sort of bigger games, don't we? But how are you feeling about this one?
I'm all right. I mean, like you says, the bigger games. You always get into these with a certain amount of fear. It's looking forward to it, and at the same time, no looking forward to it. It's a weird one when it comes to these big games, isn't it?
Aye, I mean, any sort of win, you know, a 1-0, a 2-0, a 2-1, something like that, to take over to Munich, that would be a massive bonus. Wouldn't it? Any sort of a win tonight would be absolutely tremendous. You know, looking at Bayern Munich's squad, especially, you know, for Celtic to beat them at Celtic Park tonight would be absolutely tremendous, John. But we're going to go through all that, right? But first of all, we've got some other stuff to go through as well, John. Because as I say, we've not been on for a wee while. We're going to go through the Rangers going out the Scottish Cup, which was massive news just a few days ago, wasn't it? We've not had our VC on that. We're going to go through that. We're going to go through the Scottish Cup results. We're going to have a wee word on the Raith Rovers game as well, John. We've not had our VC on the 5-0 win against Raith Rovers. Very dominant performance again. Celtic flying at the moment, aren't we? So we're looking to take that into the game against Bayern Munich the night, John. So, okay, let's get right into it then, John. Right, what we'll do is we'll start with the Bayern Munich game, obviously, because that's tonight. Massive game tonight. We're all looking forward to it. We're all sort of dreading it at the same time, John. £500 million this team have spent. You know, £500 million. Where do they get this money from? You know, it can't be all TV money. For a club like Bayern Munich to spend £500 million, John, is unbelievable. There should be some sort of a, you know, financial fair play rule brought in here, John, I think.
A spending cap. Aye.
Yeah.
I don't know. If you've got the money, why not flaunt it? That's the way I look at it. If Celtic had that kind of money to spend, I wouldn't be complaining. But it isn't fair on the rest of the countries, is it? You know, you've got these big leagues in the big countries: Germany, France, Spain, England. It's tough. It is tough on the smaller nations, but we just have to accept it. It's the same as, using a parable again, it's the same as Celtic in Scotland, isn't it? They rule the game. It's equivalent of other lesser teams in Scotland. They can't compete with Celtic, and we're like that in Europe. We can't compete with the bigger nations. That's just the way it is, and we need to accept it and try and do our best. But I agree, there should be some kind of spending cap, financial fair play, if you like what you said. I don't know, but it's frightening, isn't it? It is frightening when you see the money these teams are spending. We'll never compete with that.
Yeah, that's it, John. You know, you're looking at the Celtic thing in Scotland that you were mentioning there, John. You know, Celtic spend, what, 10, 15 million pound a year, right? Roughly. I know we're spending a wee bit more just now, but normally we spend about 10 to 15 million pound a year. You know, the other clubs in Scotland, you know, especially your Aberdeens and your Hearts, they're still spending 1 or 2 million, John. So the financial gap isn't that great, compared to Celtic and Bayern Munich. I think, as you say, John, there should be a cap on the spending in the Champions League. There really should be. And it's not just Bayern Munich, John. It's all these Real Madrid, Barcelona, all the English teams as well, John. There's no fair play there really in the Champions League, is there? But we've got to play the game, John. We've got to play the fixture. There's no point in moaning about it. We've played these big teams before and beat them at Celtic Park. I'm sure we can do it again. Let me quickly run through some of these players that we're playing tonight, John, for Bayern Munich. It's just quite scary, just looking at some of these prices. Min Jae Kim, John, centre back, 47 million. Stanisic, 28 million, the right back. Klimic, 50 million, the central defensive midfielder. Pavalovic, 50 million, central midfielder. Lemar, 25 million, central midfielder. Masala, 140 million, central attacking midfielder. John, these are all in euros, by the way, euros, not pounds. Kingsley Coman, 35 million euros, the left winger. Harry Kane, 90 million euros. The list goes on and on and on and on. Leroy Sané, 45 million, John. This is what we're up against. This is scary stuff. Olise, 65 million, the right winger. It's scary, John. £500 million team coming to Paradise tonight.
Aye, it's frightening, isn't it, when you listen to the prices? One of the players is worth more than your whole team.
Yeah, that's it.
Quite a few of their players is worth more than your whole team. But as I keep saying, how good can you actually be as a football player? How good can you actually be? What's the difference between £140 million player and a 10, £15 million player? How big is the difference? If you took two central midfielders, central defensive midfielders, just an example, one's 15 million, you're expecting a great player for 15 million, aren't you? And you get one at 140 million. How much better is he? You know what I mean? I just try to look at this realistically. How much better is a £140 million player compared to a £15 million player, compared to a £1 million player? What's the big differences, do you think?
Yeah, that's it. I know exactly what you're saying. You've got how much better is Kingsley Coman to Nicholas Kuhn. I know exactly what you're talking about. Another one I missed out, by the way, John, Upamecano, 50 million centre back, John, as well, missed him out. And that's not including your 10, 15 million pound players, John. That's just the ones that are over the 40 that I've mentioned there. So, all right, John, let's have a wee look on the players that they have out. And it doesn't really matter who they've got out, to be honest with you, because they're just going to bring another 50 million pound player to replace them, aren't they? So, Gnabry, John, the left winger, 35 million pound, he's out. Alphonso Davies, John, the left back, he is a really decent left back, by the way. He's out of this one. Alphonso Davies, £50 million man, he's out. Ito, he's also out with this one with a foot injury, John, £30 million. He's out as well, the big centre back Ito, but they've got various other centre backs to step in. Who else have they got out, John? Palhinha, £47 million man, he's out with the flu. So he's out with the flu, John. But as I say, John, they can just bring in any one of their various talents to replace these boys.
Aye, lucky them, eh?
Yeah.
Luckily we've got a full strength team tonight, which we would need to get any kind of result against them.
Yeah.
Using parables, it's similar to, well, how can you say, St Johnstone against Celtic or something like that. It's a similar thing. You don't give them much chance, but at the end of the day, it's 11v11, so there is always a chance. That's the kind of thing we're up against.
Yeah, that's it, John. It's going to be tough. Nobody's, but the big crowd, 60,000 screaming Celtic fans. We know Bayern Munich are used to that as well, John. They're used to the intimidating atmospheres. They'll be used to that. But Celtic Park is just that wee bit different, isn't it? So we'll wait and see what happens later on tonight, John. We'll continue with the build-up for this one. And let's continue As you say, John, Celtic's Dyson Maeder is eligible to play. Celtic appealed the 2-match ban. They won the appeal, and it's been reduced to a 1-match ban. So Dyson is available for tonight. That's just great news, isn't it?
It certainly is. I mean, we really needed him. I was fearful without Dyson, but aye, it's great news for Celtic. I was just thinking about the Celtic team, some of the players that we have got that have been maybe around the £25 million mark that we have got. Jota was a £25 million player at one point. Yeah. Nicholas Kuhn's got the potential to be that kind of player. Carter Vickers, probably Callum McGregor. So there's a few Celtic players that, they're known that quite above the £40 million mark, but still expensive players nonetheless. So, aye. I was just thinking about that while you were talking there. We've still got quite a lot of players in our team that are quite expensive. So, still, it's no comparison to them, is it?
No. It's scary, the thought of the money that they've spent, But as I say, we need to play the game. So let's have a wee look at the betting, John. Celtic 11-2, roughly 5-1 into it for Celtic to win at home. Very unusual to see that into Celtic 5-1 at home, nearly 6-1 at home, John. So it tells you the level that Bayern Munich are at. We'll go through some of their form in a wee minute, John. Games they've played, etc. But 3-10, the Bayern Munich win, John. So 1-3, is it? Roughly 1-3 for Bayern Munich to win at Celtic Park. So, John, the bookmakers are just making us overwhelming underdogs.
I think when you look at the facts, we are massive underdogs. So you'll never get away from that. We are massive underdogs. We all know that. It's no favourable for Celtic, sadly, but like I said earlier, it's 11 against 11. You just never ever know. Well, look at Queen's Park against Rangers. Nobody would ever expected them to go to Ibrox and pull off a shock result like that. A 1-0 win. Fantastic result for them. But if you look at that as a parable, maybe that's similar to what we're up against,
Yeah, possible, John. Yeah, possible. But maybe in Germany, yeah, John. But at Celtic Park, I think we've got quite a good chance to get something from the game anyway. Whether it's beating them or drawing the game. Obviously, we're all looking for a win because we need to take some sort of lead over to Germany, John. That's a fact, isn't it? And the bit of good news, I suppose, is that Feyenoord only beat them 3-0. Just a few weeks ago, John, in the Champions League. So they're not unbeatable. Feyenoord, as I say, beat them 3-0 on the 22nd of January. So they're not unbeatable, John.
No team's unbeatable. That's what I'm saying. There's always a chance 11v11. So there is a chance that Celtic could take something out of the game. There is every chance, of course there is. But when you look at the realistic figures, the money that they've spent, they're just a top team. Probably one of the top 3 in the world, I would say, Bayern Munich.
Yeah.
That's just me being realistic. I'm not trying to be negative, I'm trying to be realistic. We're playing against one of the top 3 teams in the world. It's as simple as that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. As I say, John, it's one to look forward to and sort of hide your eyes at the same time, but especially when we go over to Munich, that's going to be behind the couch stuff. But, for Celtic, we're champions, John. We've done brilliant in the group stage, so we'll wait and see what happens. We'll wait and see. Looking back at 2017 when we played them, John, obviously it's a different time, so maybe even a different era, you could say, with a two totally different squads, John. But the home game was 2-1 win for Bayern Munich, so we lost 2-1 at home, and the away fixture was a 3-0 win for Bayern. So that was a 5-1 aggregate score, John. So that's why I'm saying we need some sort of a lead to take into Munich.
We definitely need a lead to take into Munich. It's still going to be the toughest thing you're ever going to ask of Celtic is beating one of the top 3 teams in the world. It's a tough ask. I do remember the last time we played them. Look, they're a fantastic team. But Celtic at Celtic Park, under the lights, you just never know, do you? It's Celtic have got to get into this without an inferiority complex, which I think happens to Celtic a lot, to be honest with you, in the Champions League. I think there's that inferiority complex. And if Celtic can get over that, and remember, these players need to remember who they're playing for. Celtic, massive team as well. So get over the inferiority complex and remember you're Glasgow Celtic. Watch the Lisbon Lions winning in Europe before the game and you'll be all right.
Yeah, that's it. Take them to Seamill. Take them to Seamill the day, for a breakfast or whatever. And all right, John. Let's have a wee word on Celtic then, John. Let's focus our attention on Celtic. Just before we do that, actually, since Bayern Munich lost to Feyenoord 3-0, John, they've won 3 on the bounce. So they've just hit form at the right time to play Celtic. So let's get into Celtic then, John. Okay, Dyson's playing brilliant, great news. The team had a rest against Raith Rovers. A lot of changes there. 9, I think it was, all in. We'll touch on the Raith Rovers game after this, folks, after we do the Munich stuff. But the players were rested, John, so he's going to make the changes again and he's going to refer back to the strongest possible squad. But I was thinking, it's maybe unfair on Big Adam Ida, but should we go with a dynamic threesome up top, John, with Dyson through the middle, Nicholas Kuhn on the right and Jota on the left? What do you think, John?
It's a tough one, isn't it? Because Big Adam's been on form recently. It may be a wee bit tough on him if we drop him. And he's got a physical presence up front as well. They've got a big team, Bayern Munich, so maybe Brendan will go for the physical side up front because I think we're going to be on the back foot a lot. So the other thing is, if we are on the back foot a lot, then it's good to have that pace for breaking away. Because Celtic are, right now, they've been lethal on the counter-attack. And with 3 players like Jota, Maeda and Kuhn running at their defence, that might be a possibility. I think it might be a possibility that he starts with Dyson up front.
Especially with the form Dyson's on. I mean, we went on about Dyson Maeda, how great he is for Celtic. If we started this podcast, John, so, and it's no surprise to us that Dyson, he's flying just now. But, to put Dyson through the middle, John, and get some sort of result against Bayern Munich with Dyson playing through the middle, I don't think there'll be any turning back, would there?
I don't think so, no. We spoke about Dyson playing up front a few weeks ago after Kyogo left. And look, he's had his wee shot up front, he's had his shot on the left, he's had his shot on the right, he's scoring goals for every position he plays in right now. So it's just such a massive boost in it, him being able to play. Do you think he would have played against Raith Rovers if Brendan knew the appeal would be one?
No, that's a good point. Actually, I don't think he would have been anywhere near the game, to be honest with you. So the appeal came, the winning of the appeal came after Raith Rovers, didn't it? So, and it was just great news when I read that. It really was. It was like a wee early bonus, wasn't it? So, no, I think he would have been rested, John. But let's have a wee word on then Big Adam Ida. If he does play from the start, he's on form as well, John. He's banging in the goals also. And as you say, he's got that physical presence, holds the ball up well, lays the ball off. He's just a tremendous forward for us, John. But I personally think he's going to go with Ida up top today. But I don't know when he's going to try it. I don't know when he's going to, try the 3 up top that I mentioned with Dyson through the middle. I'm just looking forward to it, John. Maybe he's saving that for the Glasgow derby.
We don't know. That's a while away yet, so we don't know. But I still don't know. It's a tough one, isn't it? Because Big Adam's been on form. I think he would feel hard done by if he gets dropped. But in the same breath, he's got to look at the form of Dyson Maeda. You can't drop him, Xander. You just cannot drop him. So who else are you going to drop? Jota? I don't think so.
Well, It's a great point, and we're going to get your prediction for the lineup in a minute. But somebody's got to get dropped. It's either going to be Ida, Maeda, Kuhn, or Jota. So somebody's not going to be playing, John. So that's the headache that Brendan's got into, and it's a tremendous headache to have. Let's put it that way, John. It really is. All right, John. But the only other thing was Bernardo. John came off against Raith Rovers with an injury. No update on that as of yet. I think he just came off as a precaution, didn't he? So Bernardo maybe 50-50 for this one, John. And obviously the long-term injury, James Forrest. Still not heard anything from James. But apart from that, John, that's the only concerns we've got is Bernardo and James Forrest.
Aye, well, that's it. Bernardo was never going to start, I don't think, anyway. But he would have came on as a sub at some point. But aye, it's always a blow to lose one of your top players, and I think Paulo Bernardo was definitely one of them.
Yeah. All right, John. Okay. All I need is a wee starting lineup off you. I don't know. It's easy enough, but it's difficult as well because the form of Daizen Maeda, especially how good he looks playing in that Kyogo role. So the big decision is for you just now, John. And we know it's just a guess and it's just a bit of fun, but it's your predicted 11, John.
Right, well, Casper's okay for the game after his back tweak. I think he just tweaked his back or something. He'll be okay. Casper, Carter Vickers, Thrusty, Alistair Johnson, and left back's a tricky one. It's Sloop or Greg Taylor. I'm going to go for Sloop. He's got the experience. He's won the Premiership in England. I think Brendan's going to go with him.
Yeah.
Centre of the park, Hatate, McGregor and Engels.
Mm-hmm.
Up front, this is the big one, isn't it? Kuhn. And this is my preference. I don't know if this is going to happen, but I think he's going to go with Kuhn, Maeda and Jota.
You're getting me excited. Yeah, my team's the same, John. But apart from Kuhn, it's going to be Daizen on the right and Ida up front for me, John. That's my prediction. Everything else is the same. But wait and see what Brendan decides. There's only a few hours to go into it, so we'll wait and see what happens, John. Right now, the big dread, a predicted lineup, predicted score from you, John. We didn't get any of the predictions last weekend correct. None of us. We got all the results right, everyone right actually. But we were one goal out just about with every game, John. We didn't get any right at the weekend, so it still remains 10-2 to you. So I need a wee score prediction off you for this one, John.
It's a tough one, isn't it? If every player shows up to a man, I think we could sneak a 2-1 win. I think we could sneak a 2-1 win, but that's, every single player's got to show up and put in the same performances they did against the other German team, Leipzig. I think Celtic were the far superior team on the night. And if we get a similar performance to that, I think we could sneak a 2-1 win. It's maybe no realistic to some people, but if we play like we did against the other big German team, Leipzig, I think we could sneak a 2-1 win. I'm going to stick with that.
It's very, very difficult, isn't it, John? When you look at the opposition, it's so tough. It's so tough. I'll say I was thinking 2 each, but I'm going to go with you, John. I'm going to say 2-1 also, actually. I'm going to stick with the 2-1 because I think Bayern will score. They will score. In fact, John, I'm going to say, just to be different, I'm going to say 2-0, right? I'll go with 2-0 to Celtic. I know it's going to be very tough to keep a clean sheet against them, but these things do happen, John. We do keep clean sheets against great teams, especially at Celtic Park. So I'm going to say the 2-0, John. Fingers crossed, one of us are right, John. That's all we can say just now.
Well, exactly, aye. Right now, I'll take a draw. I would take a draw all day. But just to be optimistic, I'll say 2-1. I was just thinking about Daizen Maeda earlier. 2 red cards in the Champions League. Daizen's had.
Yeah.
For a player that isn't even remotely a dirty player, that's unbelievable, isn't it? Is it any wonder that red card was overturned?
Yeah, well, you know, the red card overturned. I mean, it wasn't even a red card, John. He shouldn't even have got the 1 game suspension, to be honest with you. You know, he's not kicking out. You know, it's just a reaction, and it's a reaction thing. He's not actually trying to do any, you know, cause the player any hurt or anything like that, John. You know, and ever since he got sent off, John, he's been absolutely flying, hasn't he? So, but no, John, it's what else can you say about this game tonight? I'm looking forward to it. I'm dreading it at the same time. That massive crowd, John, that's what we've got on our side, isn't it? That 60,000 Champions League atmosphere will hopefully, and I mean hopefully, get us over the line in this one.
Well, it's the 12th man. The only thing I'm concerned about is dodgy Champions League referees. You know my opinion on them. I think they're worse than every referee that you see in Scotland. I think Champions League referees are pathetic, to say the least. I think they're very poor under. I mean, look at Maida sending off. That says it all.
Aye, it's very tough. You know, we seem to get red cards every year in the Champions League, don't we, for practically nothing. So we don't want anything like that tonight, John. But I think the boys are professional enough to, you know, I think Brendan has them drilled as regards to, you know, discipline, stuff like that, you know. So it's just these very fussy referees, as you say, John. Very, very fussy, especially that Dyson red card. That was unbelievable, John.
Well, it's just, I just find it strange that Dyson Midas had 2 red cards in the Champions League. One last season, one this season. And both of them were just disgusting decisions to send a player off for what he was sent off for. So you've got to that's the one thing that concerns me tonight, is these dodgy referees, and they are dodgy. There's no such thing as a good Champions League referee.
Yeah, and that red card, John, did cost us at the end of the day. You know, it did cost us because Dyson wasn't available for Aston Villa, John, you know, and then we had all the other problems with the Villa, but especially Dyson missing for that one could have been a different result. We don't know what would have happened, but it did cost us at the end of the day because it wasn't available for Villa. So
I totally agree with that. If Dyson was available against Villa, it could have been a different story. I think our best players were missing against Aston Villa, Carter Vickers as well. So, so let's hope the referee has a good one tonight.
Yeah, that's it, John. All right. Good luck to the boys. Okay, that'll do the preview of the big one tonight, John. Good luck to the boys. That's all we can say. Champions League, John. Massive. You know, we're in a great position, aren't we? You know, 13 points clear at the top of the league, into the quarterfinals of the Scottish Cup, which is what brings us on nicely to the Scottish Cup, actually, John. Let's do the roundup of the Scottish Cup weekend there. We've not had our say on it, so we'll do a wee quick roundup of the Scottish Cup. Celtic 5, Raith Rovers 0. Brilliant performance by Celtic yet again, John. You know, Dyson Maida, hat-trick, John, wasn't it? Beautiful performance from Celtic. Dyson especially. Even Yang, who played well, John, he had a decent performance and actually scored a nice goal, didn't he, Yang? So well done to Yang for that. Hopefully he can kick on. But John, very professional, wasn't it? Very, very, you know, I wouldn't say, well, maybe it was easy, I don't know, but it was just a professional job at the end of the day to get us into the quarterfinal of the Scottish Cup, and that's all everybody was looking for.
Aye. Look, it was a unrecognisable starting 11 as well. You've got to take that into account. That was Celtic's B team, more or less. They just went out there and wiped the floor with Raith Rovers, who are a decent team, by the way, Raith Rovers.
Yeah.
They're no mugs. They're a good team. And their fans, brilliant. I thought their fans were incredible all the way through the game as well.
Yeah, I mean, they're a good wee club, Raith Rovers, aren't they? They really are. But it's just, as you say, all the changes, John, that was just a brilliant performance. But when you consider what happened over at Ibrox, you know, we're going to touch on that in a wee minute. But we'll stick to Celtic the new, John. Dyson made a scoring in the 6th minute. So another early goal. It always helps the nerves, that, John, a nice early goal. Then we get another one. It's very similar to the Dundee game, wasn't it? We get another one in injury time to make it 2-0. Going into half time at 2-0 up, John. Very similar, you know. That was Dyson again. Then we get an early goal in the second half. Luke McCowan gets us 3-0 up, John. Then another goal for Celtic, Yang, in the 56th minute puts us 4-0 up, and then the icing on the cake, wasn't it? Dyson at the very end, John, making it 5-0. But could have been a lot more. We're not. You say we're not going to be greedy. We're happy with we're happy with the 5, John. I said 6-0, I think, on the predictor. But I was 1 goal out. But we're not going to be greedy, as I say. The lineup was Sinisalo, Schlipp started, Scales, Dane Murray started. John, big Dane Murray. He's a big physical presence, isn't he? Ralston started. Bernardo, who came off injured. Hatate replaced him in the 37th minute. Callum started. He got a rest as well in the 65th minute for Engels. Luke McCowan. Kuhn, he also started. Jota got his wee appearance as well for Nicholas. Came on as a sub. Daiz Almeida and Yang, John. So definitely a lot of changes there, wasn't there? Big Ida was on the bench, John. He didn't get a run out, so he got a full rest. So it was good to see, John, all your main players were rested for this one and still getting the result.
Aye, of course it was. Aye, and like I said earlier, I think Ida was rested on the knowledge that Dyson Maeda would be missing against Bayern Munich.
Yeah.
So they'd rested Ida, and then things have turned around. So that's going to throw a spanner in the works for the night's game. Who's going to start up front?
Yeah.
But I look a Celtic, wouldn't say B team, just a thoroughly depleted squad, if you like, and still managed to go out there and wipe the floor with Wraith Rovers, who I thought put up a good fight, by the way.
Yeah, they did. They played well, actually. Fair play to them. We have a couple of wee stats very quickly. I mean, I don't want to bore people with this. We've already went through the whole game, but Celtic 74% of their 26, 12 shots to Wraith's 1, 7 on target to Wraith's 1, saves 1 for the goalkeeper, 2 for their goalkeeper. Fouls 6 to Celtic, 5 to Wraith, and corners 7 to Celtic to Wraith Rovers, 2 corners. John, what was your goal of the match?
Oh, I can't remember. Honestly, I think possibly. I'm just trying to hold on, Sand. I'm just trying to remember the goal. See how you threw that one on.
I know it's not easy, John. I apologise, but I'll tell you mine then. Now, while you're thinking, then, John, I think mine was Yang. It was the delightful cross for Ralston, who by the way is John playing well. Anthony Ralston really is. Every time he's on that part now, he's playing brilliant. So fair play to him. But what a cross and what a finish for Yang on the volley, John, for that distance. Control and vision to hit it in off the post. So my goal of the match was for Yang.
Well, the first thing you asked me, the first thing I thought when you asked me what was the goal of the match, the first goal that sprang to my mind was the Yang goal, the cross from Ralston, and the first time volley for Yang at the back post.
Yeah.
It was a cracking finish, wasn't it? It was an unbelievable finish, first time.
Brilliant finish.
First time hit, beautiful. I'd probably go with that as well. Goal of the match. I'd say Yang's was the best one for me as well, Xander. Aye.
Okay, John, and favourite you can remember, because I know it was a few days ago now. What day is it today? Tuesday. The game is Saturday.
Wednesday.
Man of the match for you, John. Man of the match.
Oh, I thought it was Tuesday the day as well, actually, but it's Wednesday.
It's Wednesday the day, so I got Christmas things still on the back of our heads, isn't it? Christmas, New Year, everything's haywire. No, it's Wednesday, John. The big game, isn't it? Munich Day, Bayern Munich Day. So, it was a wee while ago the game, John. So, if you can think of a man of the match, who were you thinking?
Just,
it can only be one, can it?
It can only be one. And your eyes are never off the man. He's just unbelievable. He bangs in a hat trick. Lovely, just lovely. I loved his third goal as well at the back post. The pace, running in from the back, just an outstanding player, isn't he?
Mm-hmm.
And he dives and ends up in the back of the net as well with that one.
Yeah.
It just shows you the pace he was running for that third goal, wasn't it? It's just right into the back of the net. He went, nearly burst the net, nearly took it right off the goalposts. Look, man of the match. That was a 10 out of 10 performance. Unbelievable.
Yeah, and that's about 4 games in a row now since he got sent off, actually, in Champions League against Young Boys. He's been unplayable, John, and he's brave. He's very brave, Dyson. He pulls out of nothing. He's not afraid of anything on that football park, is he?
No, he's as brave as they get, and he's still, again, you're into the 90th minute and he's still tracking back to win the ball. And just after banging in a hat trick and all that stuff, he's unbelievable. It's just such a blessing to have him available as an Alexander. Just a total blessing.
Yeah, that is a blessing, John. And fair play to Dyson as well. We'll stick with Dyson for the time being. Mentioning Raith Rovers, John, actually, the players from Raith Rovers, every one of them shook his son and his daughter's hand as because they were the mascots. So fair play to the Raith Rovers players as well.
Aye. And I think a lot of the Raith Rovers players were wanting Dyson's top as well. I've seen a lot of them going up to him, and I don't know what they were saying to him, but I think some of them were wanting his top.
Yeah, that's it, John. I thought that was a nice touch, showing them the respect, showing his kids the respect by shaking their hand as they were shaking the Celtic players' hand. So fair play to Raith Rovers, gentlemen, well done, sportsmanship as well. So well play to them, and good luck to Raith Rovers as well, by the way. Right, John, let's continue this Scottish Cup roundup then. The big one, Ibrox Stadium. Right. I mean, I don't want to laugh, right?
No, I don't laugh.
I don't want to laugh, right? But Rangers now, Queen's Park 1, John. We both said when we're talking about the Scottish Cup, the preview of the Scottish Cup, we both said that they had no chance. So both wrong. Everybody in the country was wrong. Everybody said Queen's Park had no chance. But what a performance they boys put in at Ibrox, John. To go to Ibrox, John. I know, actually, no fear there. Playing some nice football, John, as well. Defending when they had to. Goalkeeper outstanding. That goalkeeper for them outstanding, John. But for them to go to Ibrox, priced at something like 45-1 to get a win, and beat Rangers in their own turf to put them out the Scottish Cup. Fair play and well done to every single one of them.
I never seen the game. Obviously, I've watched the highlights a few times. I've seen the goal. I've seen the empty stadium. I've seen the penalty that was never a penalty. I've seen the extra time that was added on top of the extra time. Injury time, sorry. It was just unbelievable that Queen's Park showed up and done that. And their fans were brilliant as well. Absolutely brilliant. Outsang the Rangers fans all the way through the game in that wee corner. They were loving it. We were loving it. It's a dream come true for, what do you call them, Queen's Park, and their goalkeeper. He has to be a man of the match. What a performance. For what I've seen of the highlights, I've seen the extended highlights, and that boy was, what's his name again? Is it Callum Ferry?
Callum Ferry, the goalkeeper, John. He's short in stature, in height, build. He's quite small, but that boy put in a master class performance there at Ibrox, John. And obviously, let nothing by him, but he was getting to balls that, John, 7 feet goalkeepers when they get to. Outstanding. What a performance by that boy, John. And the penalty save, John. Let's touch on the penalty, right? Referee Callum Scott and VAR assistant Gavin Duncan, John, on the VAR. It took them 2 seconds, to have a look at that penalty decision on VAR and stick by that decision. Now, 2 seconds, John. The penalty was awarded. He pointed to his ear and then pointed to the spot within, okay, maybe no 2 seconds, maybe 5 seconds. Why was that penalty allowed to stand? It's a free gift, John. It's a Scottish Cup gift for Rangers Football Club. There's a penalty to get you through to the next round, right? Because if there was scored the penalty, they would have won the game, right? Let's be honest. So, John, referee Callum Scott awards the penalty, goes to VAR, they stick by the decision. Where was the foul there, John? Where was it?
I don't know. I never seen it. I never seen a foul anywhere. I seen a Rangers player diving down when somebody was standing behind him. I certainly didn't see a foul. So, if you ask me, where was the foul? I don't know.
I'll mention the names again, John. Callum Scott and Gavin Duncan on the VAR gifted Rangers Football Club a passage into the quarter-final of the Scottish Cup. and they failed miserably. Miserably, John. That was absolutely disgusting and disgraceful for a team like Queen's Park to put all that effort, John, into that game, trying to hold on to that 1-0, especially the last 10 minutes. For them to give that penalty for absolutely nothing was nothing short of a disgrace. And fair play to the goalkeeper, Callum Fergie, for saving super duper Tav Penn's penalty, John. So, they got what they deserved in the end, John. That's what they deserved. They're out the Scottish Cup. They've already lost the League Cup and they're 13 points behind in the league. You know, it's just these teams in Europe, they need to actually put in some sort of performance. You know, Spurs resting their full team. Manchester United beat them, John, but only beat them 2-1. And the only team that actually put in a bit of effort against Rangers in Europe was Lyon, you know, beating them 3-0 at Ibrox. You know, they've all come up against decent teams in Europe eventually, John, but, you know, they even got a buy into the last, you know, the last 16 without having to play a qualifying round. Every result went from there as well, John. So, you know, Queen's Park can do it. You know, I mean, it makes it even all the more crazy why the Rangers managed to beat us at Ibrox, didn't it?
Obviously, it was just a day Celtic never showed up. Taking it for granted, they were so far ahead in the league. They didn't have to put in massive effort. I think the Celtic players looked at that as a dead rubber. Although, to me, it's never a dead rubber. To all the fans, it's not a dead rubber. But in the Celtic players' minds, don't have to go out there and, you know, bust a gut for what? To still be miles ahead, even if we get beat. But it'll be a different story at Celtic Park, by the way. A totally different story, trust me. But anyway, we're not here to talk about that game. We're here to talk about Queen's Park, the mighty Queen's Park.
Yeah.
It was just an outstanding achievement. They've firmly put Rangers in their place. So there's no trophies for them this season unless they win the Europa League, which I doubt very much. But that's all they've got left to play for now, Xander. Rangers, you've got to bear that in mind, but they're not going to win it. There's too many good teams in there. Like you say, they've avoided all the best teams. Tottenham Hotspur resting their team, Man United, relegation battlers.
Man United who actually beat them, John. I mean, we forget that. And Tottenham, who actually got a draw at Ibrox. You know, the way the press go on is as if the Rangers won these games. No. You drew at Ibrox against a weakened Spurs and lost against Manchester United, who are battling relegation, as you say, John. So, that's up to them what they do in Europe, John. We're not talking about that just now. We're talking about the Scottish Cup. And well done, Queen's Park. You know, that was a stunning performance by the lads. All right, John, let's move on. Let's move on to the rest of the Scottish Cup then, John. Let's run through it. Ayr 0, Hibs 1. We knew that already on the Friday night. Dundee 4, Airdrie 0. Livingston 3, Cove Rangers 0. St Johnstone 1, Hamilton Accies 0. Celtic 5, Raith Rovers 0. Aberdeen 3, Dunfermline 0. And Hearts 1, St Mirren 1, John. That went to penalties, and Hearts won on penalties, John. Right, I want to have a wee word on the Hearts game, right? When the game goes to extra time, you're allowed an extra sub if it goes to extra time, John, right? And Hearts also had a concussion sub, right? So that's an extra 2 subs plus the 5 subs, John. That's practically a full new team Hearts were allowed to field. I know the rules are the rules, right? But 7 subs, John, out of 10 outfield players, practically a full new team to try and get a result against St Mirren. What did you think of that?
I never seen the game again. I only seen the only thing I seen of that game was a penalty kick shootout. That's the only thing I seen, so I can't comment on it. But 7 subs, I can comment on that. That's unheard of, isn't it? I don't remember ever hearing another team being allowed 7 subs. But like you say, rules are rules. If you've got a concussion, that's the rules, and it is extra time. So rules are rules, and well done to Hearts.
Yeah, Hearts who are up against the Rangers next, John. So that's not going to be easy for Rangers. You know, Hearts are on a wee bit of form just now, and it's 13 points clear. We shouldn't really even be thinking about what happens in the league just now. But It's a wee chance for Celtic to go 16 clear and then to play Hearts the next day, John. So if we beat Dundee United, we go 16 clear, didn't we? Okay, next round of the Scottish Cup, John, quarter-final, Celtic Park again, John. 3 home ties. I don't think it's ever happened. I'm not sure, but John, I don't think it's ever happened. Not that I can remember. 3 home ties before we go to Hampden if we beat Hibs, John. If we beat Hibs. Battle of the Greens, John, Celtic Park. What are you thinking of that draw?
Aye, that's all right. I would love to have got Queen's Park right enough. Just to see it. Celtic played Queen's Park at the start of the season. I remember watching that, the pre-season friendly, and I think the score was 1 each. I can't remember. It was a draw anyway.
Yeah.
But we'll take Hibs. We'll take Hibs at Celtic Park. We'll talk about that when we get closer to it. That's a good draw for Celtic at home, Celtic Park. So
Yeah.
I'm happy enough with that, Xander.
Yeah, home tie against anybody, we would have took it, John. And the treble is still on, I would suppose. I would presume, probably, John. The treble's still on.
Aye, 100% it's still on.
Are we going to do it?
Well, that's another story, isn't it? I mean, we're nowhere near winning the league yet. We've got to get that done and dusted.
Yeah.
So we'll talk about that when it gets nearer the time. But can we do it? Of course we can.
Yeah, that's it. Okay, let's run through. Before we go, John, really quick word on the Scottish Cup draw, right, John? It was Hearts against Dundee, home tie for Hearts after a penalty win. So that's the prize for that. Livingston against St Johnstone, a chance for a championship team there, John, to get to the semi-final. Aberdeen against Queen's Park, decent draw for Aberdeen there against Queen's Park, although Queen's Park will make it tough. And Celtic against Hibs, as we've already mentioned, John. So that's your Scottish Cup draw. All right, John. Okay, that's it. That wraps it up for the night. We'll not do any comments. We'll leave that for the post-match. But just a wee sum up for you, John, for the game against Bayern Munich tonight. What's your wee final thoughts before we call it a day, John? Massive game under the lights, Celtic Park, 60,000. Bayern Munich, they'll bring a decent crowd as well, John. They always bring a decent crowd, don't they? So, what's your wee final thoughts on this one, John?
Just go out there and do the job, Celtic. I mean, I know I says it earlier, but I think Celtic players, the day of the game, they get together, they sit in the Celtic lounge somewhere and they watch the European Cup final in 1967 and they watch how the Lisbon Lions, totally unfancied, total underdogs, went out there and played the best team in the world after Park. Get into that game with that spirit and you'll not be far off it, Xander.
Yeah, well said, John. Yeah. All right, John, that wraps it up for the day. Thanks for coming on. We don't normally come on the same day of the game, but needs our must just now, John. We're quite busy just now. Jamal Musiala, John, £140 million. Unbelievable.
Chicken Masala, $8.99.
Catch you later, John. Cheers, buddy.
See you later, mate. Cheers.
Cheers, John.